the pain and the suffering that people went through here, and it boils my blood.
Yeah, every few weeks you come and it looks different. Like, you know,
he's saying that a lot of blood has been spilled in this place, specifically a lot of blood of Jewish people. There you go.
I mean, anyone who says that Hamas is a moral army, they themselves are promoting terrorism.
Shalom Chaverim, I'm here in the south of Israel in a very tragic site, which is the car parking lot. That is a lot of the remains of cars that were attacked on the 7th of October. We're gonna be telling some stories of extreme brutality that was experienced here on behalf of Palestinian terrorists from Hamas who broke into Israel and tried to kill as many people en masse. This is my good friend Sam.
Hey guys.
She's the one who's organized our sort of escapade down to the south today.
Thanks to you too.
Tell me a little bit more about what happened here with the cars.
So we see from the content that we found in different sources, some of it being actually from Hamas themselves with their GoPros and with their phones. We also see it from Zaka, who they themselves were looking for the bodies and looking for the remains of people who were killed, brutally killed, massacred on October 7th, that they killed many people simply by burning down cars. So there were people who were either hiding under cars or they were inside of the cars, they were shot, and either they were burnt alive or they were killed and then burnt. So there are videos that you can find online. You can do a simple search online and see that people's corpses are in the cars being lit up on fire. And unfortunately, it went to the extent that Hamas really didn't want us to identify the bodies, to the extent that they even switched the heads of different bodies.
Wow.
So they took, let's say, a car that had, people's bodies burnt alive. They cut off the head and they went kilometers out to a different car and put the head there in place of a different body. So it took months, and it's still taking, by the way, time.
It's still ongoing now.
It's ongoing still, where Zaka is still trying to find the remains of bodies around Israel. And that's one of the reasons why when we hear from Gaza, like a day after, like 10,000 people killed, it's like, how did you report? How did you find 10,000 bodies so quickly? Because we have just a few hundred and we're still looking for them. We're still looking for them.
Now, Samantha, you've actually seen the videos of a lot of the terrorism that happened towards the very vehicles that are standing right next to us. How do you feel when people say, because I get a lot of this in my comments, I get a lot of people telling me online, how do you feel when people tell you, no, this was the Israeli army who did it, we attacked ourselves, Hamas wouldn't do something like this, Hamas is a moral army?
I mean, anyone who says that Hamas is a moral army, they themselves are promoting terrorism worldwide, and they're doing it innocently. So no, terrorists are not a moral army. They are people that brutally killed innocent individuals. Even if this were to happen to our soldiers who, are fighting for our right to exist in our ancestral homeland, even that would be extremely painful and excruciating to the families who are affected. But this is specifically people who wanted to go enjoy themselves at a party celebrating what was supposed to be the happiest day in Jewish calendar, which is Simchat Torah. People who were in their homes, dragged out of their homes. It's like the extent that they went to not just kill people, but brutally massacre individuals and terror us in our minds, innocent individuals. There's nothing that is moral about that. And if anyone says so, like I said, they're promoting terrorism and they're trying to blur the lines between what is just and what is blatantly wrong. And it's painful. It's really painful to hear. I mean, like, painful is a light word also. It's It's horrifying within itself.
Yeah, you almost lose words at a certain point.
You do,
You have a hard time explaining the terror that went on here.
A lot of tasks to green out content that we found.
אנגלית, כי הראש שלי...
אני אגיד לך גם עוד משהו יותר מעניין.
ספר לי.
הדלקת את זה?
כן, כן, זה דלוק.
אחרי כל מה שקרה, משהו קרה ביד שלו, זה אחרי השביעי בנובמבר. זה מה שהוא עשה.
So he's actually an Oleh Chadash, which means he immigrated to Israel recently from Kafkaz, which there is a Muslim majority country, and they've... אמרת שהתעסקת עם המון אנטישמיות שם, נכון? כאילו...
היה אנטישמיות בקפקז, כן, אבל...
He's experienced a lot of anti-Semitism there, and then he just immigrated to Israel recently.
עם ישראל חי.
עם ישראל חי. אמן.
אנחנו יצאנו, אמרנו, אנחנו ישבנו בבית, שזה שבת היה, יצאנו להביא לחם וזה הביתה, יצאנו לעיר, ראינו מלא גופות בעיר, שעדיין מפוזרים, שעדיין כוחות לא טיפלו בזה.
גופות של מחבלים או גופות של אזרחים?
של אזרחים. כן. אמרנו אולי משהו נמצא פתוח בעיר שעובד, אבל שום דבר לא עבד, נסענו לקריית גת, ותוך כדי, גם בכביש הראשי של 232, הכביש הזה נראה לי, כן. לפי בכביש הזה שנסענו, גם שם ראינו מלא גופות, מלא מחבלים.
זה היה צילום של CCTV שהיה לך? של המחבלים?
היה לי צילום של המצלמות אבטחה.
של המחבל?
של הבניין שלנו, מהבניין.
וואו. זה כאילו מחוץ לבית שלכם?
כן.
אין נשק שלך? אין נשק?
יש לך נשק.
לא, דבר כזה לא ציפיתי.
בחיים לא.
תשמע, אנחנו רגילים לרקטות. אני חטפתי בזמנו בבית גם לפני איזה 10 שנים. אני חטפתי רקטה בבית, אבל זה לא היה שווה, כאילו זה לא היה... זה לא אותו דבר. למרות שלא חטפתי פה לא רקטה ולא כלום, זה לא אותו דבר מה שעברנו עכשיו.
אני מספר, יש לי ערוץ ביוטיוב, אני מספר את הסיפורים של אנשים, מה שקרה ב-7 לאוקטובר, וכאילו אני סקרן לדעת, מה הרגשתם באותו רגעים, כאילו...
אי אפשר להתרגם, אי אפשר להביא את זה, עד כמה... אי אפשר להביא את זה. אני לא יכול לספר לך מה הרגשנו באותו רגע, אי אפשר, אין מילים לתאר את זה, מה הרגשנו באותו רגע. אתה חושב על הכל, אתה חושב על משפחה, אתה חושב על הקרובים, אתה חושב על מלא דברים, והחיים תוך רגע עוברים לך מול העיניים, אי אפשר... אין מילים לתאר.
אין מילים,
אמרתי לך, אני חוויתי לפני איזה 10 שנים, ממש חטפתי רקטה בבית. לא הרגשתי את זה ככה כמו שהרגשתי את זה עכשיו, למרות שזה לא היה בתוך הבית שלי, היה כן, המחבל היה בתוך הלובי בבניין שלי, אבל זה לא היה ככה. זה לא זה.
מטורף.
לאט לאט אתה מתחיל להקל ולהבין מה הולך בכלל, מה...
אתם חזרתם כבר לגור בשדרות?
כן, אני חזרתי אחרי חודשיים.
אחרי חודשיים?
כן, לשדרות, כי שמע, אנחנו בסופו של דבר אנשים עובדים ואנשים חיים.
חייבים לחזור.
לפרנס את המשפחות שלנו. אשתי חזרה לפני שבוע, כי היא עד עכשיו בטראומה. כל רעש קטן שהיא שומעתי.
ברור, כל בום, ויש שם המון בומים, עדיין שומעים.
אבל לא משנה, עובר איזה רכב, עובר איזה אופנוע.
We're moving from here to the site of the Nova Festival, which to me is a story that I think for generations we need to keep telling, because the world wants to keep ignoring it, and well, the place is going to speak for itself, so let's head over there now. So we've made it to what is probably the most horrific part of this day, exploring the south of Israel that has been affected by the events of October 7th. This is the site of the Nova Music Festival. You guys may have seen videos that went viral on that day of thousands of people running for their lives, being gunned down by Hamas terrorists all over this area, whether it was by motorcycle or by vehicle, by paraglider. Hamas terrorists rushed in from the Gaza Strip and mowed down as many people as they could that were attending this festival. A lot of people were on psychedelic drugs at the time, so imagine what they experienced, and a lot of them were taken hostage into Gaza. You can see here, Guy was featured in a video that was an act of psychological warfare from Hamas to try to pressure Israelis and the Israeli government to releasing him. which has still not happened. People are still waiting. Eden Yerushalmi is one of the most famous. You see her signs all over Israel. A beautiful young girl, only 24 years old, who is still being held in captivity in Gaza. And, well, you can see, it was a beautiful area where the most horrific acts of violence towards Jewish people and Israelis, anybody of any nationality that was here, the wrong place at the wrong time. That right there is an IDF drone, what you can hear in the sky above, that's doing surveillance, because again, we're right near the Gaza periphery. And just remember, as much as this is a memorial now, it is very much an active war zone. Every once in a while you hear bombs going off in Gaza, you hear gunfire. Very eerie, very eerie situation here. This is a sign for one of the most famous hostages. Her name was Shani Luke. You may have seen her story publicized online. She was really popularly recognized because she had Rasta braids, sort of like dreadlocks. She was brutally taken into the Gaza Strip, paraded around pretty much naked while she had a bullet in her head. And it was celebrated all across Gaza, and the video surfaced online. It was one of the ones I first remember seeing on the 7th of October. It's a sight that me and many Israelis, many Jews around the world will never forget. Sad reality for her, she wasn't even Israeli. She was a German citizen. She also had Israeli nationality, but she lived in Germany. She just happened to be there at the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, so Sam has been here many more times than me since this is my first time. And I wanted to sort of get a layout of what we're looking at, what this place was.
Yeah, so I mean, this area where you see the photos of all of the different, it's a combination actually of people who were killed and people who were taken hostage to Gaza and people who we don't know whether alive or dead. This area specifically is where the tent was. There's, famous footage of them dancing under this purple tent. And this is where the bar was, like the layout of the bar and the kitchen kind of snack area. This was the main party.
Because it was a few-day festival, right? It wasn't just one day.
Yeah, it was started at night, and it was supposed to go into the day, and then people often stay another night. But it was supposed to be from, it was Friday night, if I'm not mistaken, until Saturday day. And this whole area around, it was a big space. This whole area was a whole big party, but this is where the center of it was.
So this is where we would have seen those videos coming out where they were announcing, hey, everybody get down to the ground or start running, and the security. This is where all of that started happening.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
And over there in that direction is the entrance and exit. So that's where, over there is where all the cars were. It was a huge
over there
area.
In that field.
Right, exactly. So it's a huge area. So this whole area was party central, all the way until down to the very, very entrance. And that was really the only place to escape. This whole area is just forest. There's nowhere to go from here. So people tried hiding in the forest, but if you go in and you see exactly what it looks like, there is nowhere to hide. It's a flat area, and so your luck is just finding a small little tree hiding under a car, which is what a lot of people did.
Yeah, and you can see people who are tending right now to these different plaques. They're crying over them. They're mourning.
Yeah.
And still in the distance we can hear bombs going off in Gaza.
It's still near a war zone. This isn't. We're not done. We still have Hamas terrorists loose. We still have Hamas leaders loose. The people who made all of this.
Who did this?
Death.
Yeah.
Happen. So you can see at the memorial how they planted the red poppies.
Right here, these clay poppies.
But they're real ones more down out where the trees are being planted. So yeah, every few weeks you come and it looks different. These poppies weren't here just a few weeks ago. There wasn't so much grass here. It's unfortunately where there's a lot of death. People are trying to find a different way to express their pain.
Yeah.
So
this is the layout of the festival where we are right now. This memorial for the hostages and the killed. This was the parking lot. The stage set up. This is what the party was supposed to be, what it was supposed to look like. So as Sam was mentioning, this is the field where you may have seen a lot of these videos where people who are running for their lives were running for their lives in. In return for all the death and destruction that happened here, people have been coming and planting trees in memorial of the fallen people here. You can see next to each one of these, you have a name and a flag of Israel, and then also another flag that says, I planted a tree in Israel. With the events that happened here, I mean, for those of you guys who haven't seen the videos, I don't recommend if you're not mentally prepared to watch something like that, but being Israeli, having family all throughout this country, especially down here in the south, I remember the moments when I started seeing the videos coming out of here and understanding the scale of what Hamas has subjected the people here in Israel to. And when we started realizing what was going on, started imagining the horrific ways that people were going out here. And then we started getting the actual videos because Hamas was proudly filming them and uploading them to terrorize the Israeli public and Jews worldwide. We realized what we were up against. And I think this is a common feeling that every single Jew in the world feels. When you see these things, you can't look away. And these are going to be videos and moments that are etched into my mind. And while I've never been here until right now to this specific area, I know so deeply in my soul the pain and the suffering that people went through here, and it boils my blood. People my age, people with similar hobbies than me. All throughout these hills, everything you see here, all throughout here, people ran for their lives in desperation, and a lot of them met the most disgusting fate possible you wouldn't wish upon your worst enemies. And a lot of them are still hostages in Gaza today. In return, what Israel has done, what the people of this wonderful country have done is try to regrow, try to create something beautiful from all the darkness that's around in this area. And I find that so amazing. That's the true remarkability of the Israeli public and the Israeli people, is that when something so dark like this happens, the people here never miss an opportunity to make something beautiful out of something disgusting, out of something horrific, like the site of this festival. And you better remember that, like we commemorate almost every massacre and remember every massacre that's ever happened in our history, this place will always be remembered. It will always be remembered. The people who lost their lives here, the immense battles and the stories that took place here of civilians risking everything just to help people in desperate times. That's never going to be forgotten. There's a sort of full circle moment that I'm having being here for the first time. It's kind of hard to explain. You feel immense amounts of guilt for not being here, even though I would have been able to help in any capacity. But it's a weird feeling. It's a strange feeling, like you've already been here because you've seen it. I'll never forget the videos of the people running through these fields, trying to escape, desperate to survive. It's powerful. And just being able to look out and seeing all these newly planted trees as far as the eye can see, knowing that something beautiful, something powerful is going to come from this, is a comforting feeling. Amen. Amen. Yesh meraba. I want to explain what this truck is right here. This is called a mitzvah tank, and you have these all over the world, wherever there's Jews. It's run by an organization, a Jewish organization called Chabad. It's almost like a sect of Judaism. They put these mitzvah tanks all over the world to get Jews closer to Judaism. What you saw right now was a prayer of Kaddish, which we say for people who have died, usually family members who have passed away. I think there was a general Kaddish happening right now in honor of the people who have fallen from Nova. That's what I just joined right now. That's the prayer. But out here, you'll have these Chabadniks, as we call them, who will supply Jewish people with a pair of tefillin, which we wrap between sunrise and sunset, sidurs, which are the prayer books, and a place to put tzedakah, which is charity. What's your name?
Menachem Mendel.
Menachem Mendel and?
Yosef.
Yosef. Okay, guys, tell me a little bit about the mitzvah tank. תחול בעברית, I'll translate.
כן. המקום הזה זה טנק של הרבי מלובביץ'.
Okay, so he's saying that this is a tank of the Rabbi Milubavitch.
זה בית חב"ד נייד.
This is a mobile Bet Chabad, which is almost like a synagogue.
זה בית חב"ד נייד, זה אומר שאנחנו עוזרים ליהודים בכל דבר שהוא קשור ליהדות. דוגמה תפילין, שתייה, אוכל, כתיבה לרבי, הכל. המקום הזה, דווקא למה באנו לפתוח פה?
So why specifically did they come and open one of these Bet Chabads here at the site of the Nova massacre?
המקום הזה ספג הרבה דם. הרבה דם של יהודים נשפכו פה.
He's saying that a lot of blood has been spilled in this place, specifically a lot of blood of Jewish people.
ובמקום הזה חייב שיבואו יהודים ויניחו תפילין.
And he's saying that this is in a place that's very important for Jews to come and put on tefillin, which are the straps that you have there.
דוגמה, אנשים שהיום הנחנו ליהודי תפילין, 30 שנה הוא אומר לי שהוא לא הניח תפילין.
So he's saying, for example, there was a Jew who came here today, who came to see this place, who 30 years he hadn't put on tefillin, which is, tefillin is the most important mitzvah that Jewish men have to do.
אמרתי לו, מה העניין? למה אתה עכשיו נזכרת? הוא אומר לי, בכזה מקום שנשפך כזה הרבה דם, הנשמה שלי התעוררה, אני חייב להניח תפילין.
So Mendel was asking him, why in a place like this did you feel like you decided to put on tefillin for such a long time? You haven't done it. He said, in a place like this where so much blood has spilt, I felt like I needed to do it.
ואנחנו עכשיו נמצאים פה, אפילו שזה נראה לנו בעיניים שזה דבר מאוד 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 רע שקרה פה בעולם, בארץ, במיוחד פה במקום הזה, אבל אנחנו עכשיו מכינים את כל הדבר הזה, זה רק תפאורה לגאולה. זה כאילו כמו שעושים לבן אדם ניתוח. מצד אחד בן אדם שלא יודע מה זה ניתוח, הוא מסתכל על הניתוח והוא אומר, מה הרופאים האלה עושים לבן אדם ששוכב שם? הם באים להרוג אותו. אבל מצד שני הם לא יודעים שהם, הרופאים האלה, בעצם מצילים לו את החיים.
So he's saying the reason why they're actually here right now is to bring the light out of this dark place. In Chabad they have the concept, and also in Judaism, of Geulah, which is redemption. The end of the world where everything is going to be happy and bubbly and good. And he said everything that they do is for the kidum. How do you say kidum? For the progress of progressing that goal. And this is a very dark place that they want to bring the most light out of. There you go.
ב7 באוקטובר הסיבה שנכנסו לפה ובאו והרגו פה את כל מי שהרגו זה בגלל שהוא יהודי.
So he's saying on the 7th of October, the reason why people came in here, you can hear the bombs going off in Gaza right now. The reason why Hamas came in here is to kill Jews specifically because they were Jewish.
והדבר שהכי מסמל את היהדות זה התפילין, כמו שאתה רואה.
And he's saying the thing that symbolizes the most in Judaism is tefillin and doing mitzvot or good deeds.
הסיבה שאנחנו פה זה כדי להראות את הנקמה האמיתית בחמאס. וזה שיהודים מגיעים לפה ומניחים תפילין ומתחברים לתורה ומתחברים למצוות, זה הנקמה האמיתית.
I like that. So he says the real revenge with Hamas, that is partly revenge, what you hear there. But the real revenge that happens with Hamas is when a Jew connects to his Judaism, when a Jew is coming and praying for the Torah and learning and studying and praying. That's the real revenge we can have on the people who want to wipe out Judaism.
יש לך עוד שאלה? אתה יכול לשאול.
זהו, זה היה אחלה, אחי, אחלה הסבר. תודה רבה לכם. ממש מעריך את זה. תודה. תודה, אחי. This is the site of one of the most horrific things that's ever happened in my lifetime in the state of Israel. It's a really sad moment for everybody who's a part of this country and everybody who's a part of the Jewish nation, Am Yisrael. I hope that nothing like this ever happens again to our people, but it's a shining light and an example of what happens when we let our guard down in front of our enemies. And I think this whole festival right here is one big lesson to the Jewish people around the world. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you long time. Goodbye. Goodbye, Klutz.